this time on the greats. Peaceful revolutionary Mahatma Gandhi. The Man in Black, Johnny Cash. The whimsical world of Beatrix Potter. And Benazir Bhutto's fight for democracy. But first, Katherine Hepburn. When Katherine Hepburn died in 2003, the film world was plunged into mourning, and Broadway dimmed its lights in a mark of respect for Hollywood's greatest actress. In a career that spanned 6 decades, Hepburn brought an unconventional beauty and fierce intelligence to her roles. She was born in 1907 into a forward-thinking New England family and adored her parents and 5 siblings. Her first theatre roles were not memorable, and she was fired from her first major play after just 1 performance. It was not until she was 25 that she attracted the attention of Hollywood agent Leland Haywood, later her lover. She then added George Cukor to her list of fans when she screen tested for his film Bill of Divorcement, which became her debut movie role. Solid performances in films such as Morning Glory, for which she won her first Academy Award, and the Cukor classic Little Women followed. Hepburn appeared to be destined for a glittering career, earning an Oscar nomination for Alice Adams and giving one of the greatest screwball comic performances of all time in Bringing Up Baby opposite Cary Grant. Hepburn later recalled laughing from morning to night while making the film, and director Howard Hawks deftly transferred the exhilaration onto the screen. The story of a madcap socialite pursuing a paleontologist with the added complications of a pet leopard did not do well at the box office, but is now seen as one of Hollywood's classic comedies. Hepburn and Grant then teamed up in the Philip Barry comedy Holiday. Years later, modern screen icon Cate Blanchett had the tough task of recreating the young Katherine Hepburn of this era. Blanchett took home an Oscar for her efforts.
My job was to scrutinize her performances in a way that one doesn't as an audience member, and it was incredibly daunting, because I'm representing her in color when people receive her in black and white and in the same medium that she's so iconically known. So there's a lot of technical preparation to do, and then at the end of the day you just have to work with the other actor and be directed by Scorsese, which was an absolute pleasure.
By the end of the 1930s, a string of flops saw Hepburn labeled box office poison by motion picture distributors, and her career took a dive. In typical Hepburn fashion, she worked out a solution, securing the rights to the Philip Barry hit play The Philadelphia Story, and using them as a negotiating tool to ensure MGM allowed her to play the lead. The film was a massive box office success, cementing her as one of Hollywood's great actresses. 2 years later, she followed it up with Woman of the Year, which introduced her to the man who was to become the love of her life, Spencer Tracy. After a brief first marriage, Hepburn had resolved not to marry again, and instead had long-term affairs with Leland Haywood and billionaire Howard Hughes. The picture was a hit, as was their follow-up pairing, the acerbic battle of the sexes, Adam's Rib. Tracy remained married to his wife, but spent much of his life with Hepburn until his death in 1967, only days after completing the last of their 9 films together, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. In 1951, Hepburn filmed The African Queen with director John Huston and co-star Humphrey Bogart on an African shoot that was almost as epic as the film itself. The experience made such an impact that years later, she wrote a best-selling book entitled The Making of the African Queen, or How I Went to Africa with Bogart, Bacall and Huston and Almost Lost My Mind. Like her character, prim missionary Rose Sayer, Hepburn disapproved of Huston and Bogart's boozy ways and made a point of drinking gallons of water, with the result that she came down with dysentery and was ill for several months. Until well into her 80s, Hepburn continued to appear in films, earning 2 more Academy Awards. She died in 2003, a month shy of her 96th birthday.
Those of us who knew her well and loved her will miss her terribly. But through her films, generations to come will discover her humor and grace, her keen intelligence, and her soaring independence. She was and always will be an American original, and she died as she lived, with dignity and grace.
3.